Hey, my YouTube and my new TikTok audience that I am trying to build as a content creator. So, I actually prefer to be a writer. I don't like myself on video. I do not like to hear my voice recorded. So, I have learned to write. But I started a Substack, and one of my series is going to be Dear Smith Family. And it is going to be telling my asshole brothers and their fucking wives what awful people they were to me while I was at my worst when I had chronic fatigue syndrome. And they just said, no, you don't. No, you don't have chronic fatigue syndrome, you lying loser of a piece of shit. You've never done anything worthwhile in your life. Well, that was not logical because, yes, I had. Anyway. So I'm going to do a dramatic reading of my Substack, Chapter 1. Dear Smith Series, Chapter 1. I have a lot to say, and time may be short if we are not successful in turning democracy around. So instead of waiting for the energy to write the damn book, I'm gonna blog it here. I'm a writer. I have my degree in English and psychology. I've mostly blogged my life's joys and traumas, mostly traumas. The release of the stories do help me to heal. Unfortunately, I have had too much to heal from. First things first, I feel recovered from the trauma, except for the complex PTSD that haunts me with each new betrayal, but that is more rare now, thank God. The difference between PTSD and complex PTSD, in a nutshell, PTSD happens with a particular trauma, usually a one-time event or a short time frame of events. Complex PTSD, which is what I have, happens when the trauma is repeated over time by the same or different issues. My complex PTSD is from the trauma of betrayals and scapegoating and gaslighting by my family for decades, and emotional abuse in the workplace from narcissists and bullies. I'm an empath, sometimes thought of as the easiest target. Sorry, my papers are wrong. I had an uneventful childhood. Happier than not. My mom wasn't a warm woman and used the silent treatment too much, but I'd say she was a good mother. I do know she tried very hard to do the right thing for her family. I know she sacrificed everything for her 5 children. She likely resented the hell out of it, but she did it. I saw her resentment. I realized I would not be able to sacrifice my entire life for a husband and children. That was a valuable life lesson. My dad was a saint from heaven, the nicest, funnest, sweetest man. He loved unconditionally, and that was enough. I'm not aware of a soul who didn't like my dad. Just a nice dude, always a sunny attitude. I had 4 brothers. I was the middle and only girl. We loved each other growing up and kind of banded together against my mean mom when she would get in her moods. I didn't realize any underlying tensions until my brothers got married. 2, unfortunately, religious trad wives, especially the 2 oldest. Melissa and Gina never, ever liked me. They didn't. They just didn't. Because I wasn't traditional like themselves. Every Thanksgiving, I saw the side-eye glances and the whispers in the kitchen as they all hovered around the dishwasher thinking, Laura's just not like us. We're so perfect. We're good women. Okay, I did ad-lib a little bit of that. Anyway, they all hovered around the dishwasher. That was in here. Pissed at me for hanging out watching football with my brothers like I grew up doing. Hello. Anyway, I was brought up like my brothers, not like a trad wife. And the wife's resentment was so palpable. It was Billy, the oldest, who finally told me, Melissa doesn't like you because you believe we all put you on a pedestal you don't deserve. So he took me down off of that on her command, apparently. She seemed like a nice lady, super, super quiet, but apparently paid in her heart for me just because I wasn't like her. I'm glad Billy is dead. Yes, I am. Ad-libbing here. Yes, thank God he's dead. He was my worst tormentor. His second covert narc wife was a hideous piece of shit to me. They stalked me. They broke into and entered my home and pretended it was to help me. They did great harm. More later on that. Gina showed me how much she detested me by lying to my face while my dad was dying and telling me no one wanted me at the deathbed. She was awful. It was the worst day of my life. It was the worst day of my life. And in my darkest moment, the only person left on earth that loved me, the only person on the planet that still loved me, was dying. And my sister-in-law was spewing hate at me. She hadn't seen me in years, but she had to get in my face, lie to me about what my brother Mike had actually said, and make sure I knew I was no longer welcome in the Smith family. Look. She hated that Mike spent time chatting with me. She watched out the front door for the hour we stood outside, and then finally it was too much for her. She demanded Mike come to her and leave me be alone in my grief while they all comforted each other, and gave me a 20 points chore list. But that's an entirely whole post on its own, so I'll just mention it here. Think of Cinderella and the wicked stepbrothers and their wives. Gina, she is physically unattractive and has always had a weight issue. I guess that is another reason she hated me. I wasn't those things. Lady looked like a dude, and she still does. My brother's previous loves had been way cuter. In fact, Mike and Billy fought over the much prettier Melissa. Billy won. Mike sulked for years. Gina was the booby prize for the loser of Melissa. I didn't understand for too long why they all hated me and ganged up on me. Now that I see it so clearly, I'm angry that I tried for so many years to forgive them and try to make them see their errors. But their errors were actually on purpose to hurt me, not just misunderstandings. They wanted to harm me, and they did. Complex PTSD and sibling abuse is a real thing. I was their victim. I've escaped the dungeon they threw me in, metaphorically. Stay tuned. And thank you for listening to my dramatic reading of Dear Smith Family. Have a great day.